So today we're going to be talking about why growth feels uncomfortable and how to embrace it. So for me, when I was going through, I actually really recently went through quite a big transition. I closed down my first business, which was Worthy and More, which was a social enterprise for women. And closing that down for me was, I went through a lot of emotional turmoil, I guess you could call it. I was like, okay, was this the right decision? Am I making a bad choice? And then I went for like the obvious, I'm a failure. I think that lasted about 2 days because I'm so sure that God has a mission for me that it almost feels like this is a blip, but obviously embrace the feeling. So it was like, okay, so how are you feeling? I'm feeling a little bit shitty. I'm feeling like I let myself down. There was a little bit of embarrassment. I've always had this fear of being publicly embarrassed, and I think it stuck with me for a minute now, probably since I was a kid. And there is just something about being publicly embarrassed that I'm just really not here for. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. So you have this fear of being publicly embarrassed. Now what do you do with it? And I've just had to really basically navigate pushing through the embarrassment, pushing through the fear, despite feeling that those emotions basically. So anyway, slight tangent. So embarrassment came up, the idea that I would be a failure came up, the idea that, if you can't stick with this one thing, what can you stick with? And it was challenging. I definitely put it up there with like uni. It was definitely challenging. It tested my boundaries as a human being, and it also, I will say this, it is a testament to how far I have come in terms of my inner dialogue, because the way I used to speak to myself when I was growing up was very, very, you could even say disrespectful, a little bit aggressive, not even passive aggressive, just outright aggressive, very, very, I would like undermine myself quite a lot. I would say one thing and then do another, and then I would be like, well, this is why you're stupid, this is why you're single, this is why no one loves you, this is why you're ugly. And I would talk to myself in a way that I would never in this world allow someone else to speak to me. So for me, it was like the norm to just be disrespectful towards myself. And what I went through recently is a testament to the growth, because I didn't have those conversations. I allowed myself to feel the emotions, feel the negative emotions, and then I kind of reassured myself, like, you're going to be okay. What's next? Like, what are you going to shift your focus to? And the reason that I would always encourage people to do that is not just because I'm not saying ignore how you feel, because I don't feel like that's healthy. I think you're just suppressing emotion if you do that. But I will say, focus on the positive, focus on the things that are working in your favor more than the things that are not working in your favor. So change is important because it allows you to level up. I hate that phrase for a lack of better words. It allows you to level up, it allows you to change, it allows you to evolve and to become a better version of yourself. And growth is really, really uncomfortable, and I don't think we talk about this enough, but growth is not fun. Like, growth is not fun at all. So there are fun parts to it, so I take back my at all. There are parts to growth that can be fun, like the parts where everything looks like it's going great and it's rosy, and like, you can say to yourself, everything's gonna be great. Remember 5 years ago you wouldn't have said that? Like, those parts are amazing, and those parts are, yeah, like it's you feel good about yourself. But there are parts of growth that are really, really, really ugly, like when emotions come up and you have no idea what the fuck that emotion is, or when an emotion comes up and you have no idea how to handle it, or you don't have support systems for your change, or you start to lose friends or start to lose family members because where you're going is a different trajectory to where they're going or where they want you to go. Or sometimes people's idea for you is not your idea for yourself. Your parents might want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, and you might be more creative and want to become an artist, but in their head they're like, there's no way of making money from that. Or actually nowadays there is. So it's like, sometimes growing doesn't look conventional. It doesn't look like everyone else's perfect picture. And I think you have to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet, define what your version of growth looks like, and then work your ass off to get it, basically, and to work down that road. And growth it's never going to be linear, it's never going to be a one size fits all, and it's never going to be easy. And I think nowadays we kind of were sold, I think go back a little couple of years, we were sold a dream. Now I think we're opening our eyes a little bit more to the fact that it's not that easy and it's not that fluffy. But before, when I was growing up, I would like to say that I was told a lie. Yeah, sorry to the people that raised me. And this isn't just my parents, by the way. This is like in school and stuff. They never showed you how difficult life could be as an adult, and how to process your emotions, and how to healthily deal with your anger, because anger is a healthy emotion. It's just a matter of how do you deal with it, or how does it come out, how do you project that. Does it come out physically? Do you suppress it? Are you passive aggressive? There's multiple different ways that certain emotions can show up, and sometimes you'll think you're experiencing one emotion, but it's actually coming from something completely different. You might be angry, but it's really coming from deep suppressed shame, and you might be sad, but it's really coming from the fact that you're scared of being happy, which is quite common with people that have depression, because in our minds, this is what we're used to. It's comfortable. It's a safe emotion. Again, we don't talk about the safety of emotions. So when we were growing up, we were kind of told a bit of a lie, subliminally. We weren't really told it face to face, it's going to be easy when you grow up. But schools, indoctrination camps, they're not really for making people be independent and teaching you how to become an amazing human being. It shows you how to be a great worker, so that the government can take 20% of here and 20% of there. So you're not really taught, unless you've had parents that have been taught themselves, but you're not really taught how to deal with your emotions, and you're not really taught that growth is good, but also can look really, really ugly. And I think we just need to kind of learn to embrace that. I've really gone off track. What was the freaking question? Why growth feels uncomfortable and how to embrace it. Boo-boo, if I didn't answer that already, I don't know. Why does growth feel uncomfortable? It feels uncomfortable because it's foreign. It is foreign. Growth is foreign for people. Growth is not what we're used to. I wouldn't even just say growth. I wouldn't even say why growth feels uncomfortable. I would also say why change feels uncomfortable, because I don't think you realize that you've gone from one stage to another growth until you're in the next stage. And I would say that it's the changing of your seasons, it's the changing of your life, it's the changing of your characteristics, of your values, of your morals, it's the strengthening of your personality. All of that is the uncomfortable part, because we're never really used to changing consciously. That's how I'm going to put it. We don't consciously change. A lot of us anyway. Most of us, we're trying. Some of us were trying to consciously change. But if you're unaware of it, you're also there's a lot of resistance. I think change is what makes people uncomfortable. Growth, you'll naturally grow anyway, but I think you'll get to a point where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I was actually growing, and then the next day you're like, oh shit, I'm here. But it's the changing part that makes people uncomfortable, because a lot can change around you when you're growing, and it's very, very uncomfortable, because it's not familiar, it's not normal. That's why it's uncomfortable, because it's not familiar for you. Again, like I said, with people with depression, when I had really bad depression a few years back, it was familiar for me. It was an emotion that I was used to. I knew what to expect. There were no surprises. So when someone would be like, oh, are we having a great time? I'd be like, yeah, I'm having a great time. You allow yourself to have a snippet of happiness, a snippet of joy, but you don't want to fully immerse into it, because it's a foreign experience. It's a strange emotion that you're not used to dabbling in. So even if growing up you had the happiest of childhoods, and then you get to being an adult and you've got depression, when you've had it for such a long time, it's familiar. It's now a habit. It's a pattern. It's a part of who you've become. It's who you are. So it's almost like you have to kind of divorce it. And I think I've made a video on this a while back, or podcast. You have to learn to divorce discomfort, or embrace it, because it will come anyway. Embrace the discomfort and then just grow from there. And I hope that answers the question. How to embrace it. How do you embrace it? I think just don't try to suppress it. Don't try and tell yourself oh, I'm fine. If you're not fine, you're not fine. That's okay. Just work through the emotion. What am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Because I'm XYZ age and I haven't achieved XYZ goal. Okay, so what are you going to do about it going forward? Because wallowing in self-pity is not going to actually get you the goal. So what do we do from here? Okay, so I would like to have XYZ in my bank. I would like to meet my partner, and I'd like to have some kids in the next 5 years. Okay, reverse engineer. What do you need to do to get those things? And it's about being somewhat strategic with the way that you exist. It's almost like thinking of life as a game, jotting out all the end goals and then working backwards until you can get to the start, and then you start from there. So I hope this video helps, and I just want you to know that you're amazing and you've got this, and there is nothing that you can't do. I rambled a lot in this video, but I hope it helps someone. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.